How we doing? All right. I have a question for you guys. Because I haven't had this happen a lot, and so I want your feedback. So, we are in the thick of fair, our first fair of the year, and so everybody's camped out there, and you know, like little sardines, right? Campers are stacked together, and a ton of people have dogs. You know, you bring your dogs with you when you go camping. Usually people have them leashed and they're walking them around, or they'll have them tethered to like their camper so they can be out on a chain, but you know, so they can't leave the campground, their camping site. So I had Amina, my 6-month-old Connie Corso, on her leash, and we're walking around and we're doing socialization type things, and I rounded a corner and heading back to our camper, and there was a dog off leash. I'm sure it was supposed to have been tethered, and it either snuck out on accident, or somebody thought it was still in the camper and it got out, or they thought they tied it and they didn't. Whatever, it was an accident, I'm sure. It was a pretty large, looked like a white, like a golden retriever. Anyway, a decent sized dog, right? And it saw Amina and came like barreling at us. Full tilt, the sucker's running, barking. It was not like, hey, can we play? This was get the hell away from my campsite. Even though we weren't by the campsite at all, but dogs think that, you know, this is all mine, right? So this dog comes barking, and of course Amina engages back with barking, and I didn't know like what to do. Nobody was looking or watching that this dog took off on them, right? So I just yell, not friendly, because my dog is not friendly if you're gonna come running at it like that. So somebody, eventually, the dog like came up to probably within 8 feet of us, barking, and I'm holding Amina back on our chain, yelling at this dog. And finally, somebody's like, walk over, grab the dog, and drag it away back to their campsite and put it up. They tied it up. And like nobody was like, sorry. Nope, they were just like, they had to go get their dog. Anyway, so then Amina, of course, is like hopped up, and I'm like, let's just keep walking, girl. It's all right, you're fine. We're just gonna keep walking. And we go around, and of course, this campsite is like a stone's throw from ours, but we had to like round a corner, and they had tethered the dog to the camper. So the dog sees us around the corner, and their dog, of course, runs to the end of its leash like, "Rrr!" And I'm like, Amina, just don't look over there. It's fine. Whatever. We lived, all right? So my question is, what do you do in these situations? What I'm used to is like in my tiny little neighborhood, my tiny little rural community, we struggle with dogs in my village that people don't tie, they don't leash, they don't anything. So there's a couple dogs in the neighborhood that they're not aggressive. They just like, if they see someone walking on the street, they're going to follow them. Like, they're not mean dogs. But the problem is they run up to then anyone's dog who's going for a walk, and they're like, hey, I'll walk with you. My dogs are like, I don't need a friend. Get away from me. And that's when problems can happen. You need to keep your dog on a leash or tethered. Do something with your dog that isn't running the streets, because like I can't even like take my dogs for walks anymore because I'm afraid somebody's going to get hurt. But in those situations, like on me, I keep a fanny pack. I always have rocks with me that I can throw rocks in a loose dog's direction. I have pet corrector spray, which is like pepper spray, but for like animals. I always have that on me. But that's for when I'm used to like going for a walk out on rural roads, and if you just happen upon a dog, not in a confined space like this where there's a ton of people and other dogs. And so like, what do you do? And then what is the expected behavior from your dog if you're going for a walk? Will your dog engage and bark back and you have to like restrain them back on the leash? Are your dogs trained to just not react and be completely non-reactive and look to you to say, what are we doing here, Chief? Tell me what you do. Tell me what we're supposed to do. I'm really curious.